Hi 308 and happy Monday, ready to start a fresh new week. I was so excited that so many people came and picked up their books and asked for drop-offs for us to start our new book club this week. I hope that you really like the book. I've read the best reviews about it and I'm really excited to read it with you. Don't worry, the Harry Potter videos will still be posted daily because this is just for fun. And kind of like our morning meetings, right? I know we can't really talk and answer questions every morning, but I know how much y'all love Harry Potter. So don't worry, this is gonna stay even though we're having a formal literacy practice together now. Okay, so where we left off in the story, Ron, Hermione, and Harry had just paid a visit to Moaning Myrtle, and they got caught by Percy. And he threatened, well, he took 5 points from Gryffindor, and he threatened to write home to his and Ron's mother. So I bet Ron, Hermione, and Harry are feeling pretty nervous about having Percy find something out about what they're doing. Harry, Ron, and Hermione chose seats as far as possible from Percy in the common room that night. Ron was still in very bad temper and kept blotting his charms homework, and when he reached absently for his wand to remove the smudges, it ignited the parchment. Fuming almost as much as his homework, Ron slammed the Standard Book of Spells, Grade 2, shut. To Harry's surprise, Hermione followed suit. "Who can it be, though?" she said in a quiet voice. Angle the camera for you. "Who can it be, though?" she said in a quiet voice, as though continuing a conversation they had just been having. "Who'd want all the squibs and muggleborns out of Hogwarts?" "Let's think," said Ron, mocking puzzlement. "Who do we know who thinks muggleborns are scum?" He looked at Hermione. Hermione looked back, unconvinced. "If you're talking about Malfoy, of course I am," said Ron. "You heard him. You'll be next, mudbloods. Come on. You've only got to look at his foul rat face to know it's him." "Malfoy, the heir of Slytherin?" said Hermione skeptically. "Look at his family," said Harry, closing his books too. "The whole lot of them have been in Slytherin. He's always boasting about it. They could easily be Slytherin's descendants. His father is definitely evil enough." "They could have been had the key to the Chamber of Secrets for centuries," said Ron, handing it down, father to son. "Well," said Hermione cautiously, "I suppose it's possible." "But how do we prove it?" said Harry, darkly. "There might be a way," said Hermione slowly, dropping her voice still further with a quick glance across the room at Percy. "Of course, it would be difficult. And dangerous. Very dangerous. We'd be breaking about 50 school rules, I expect." "If in a month or so you feel like explaining, you'll let us know, won't you?" said Ron, irritably. "All right," said Hermione coldly. "What we need to do is get inside the Slytherin common room and ask Malfoy a few questions without him realizing that it's us." "But that's impossible," Harry said as Ron laughed. "No, it's not," said Hermione. "All we'd need would be some polyjuice potion." "What's that?" said Ron and Harry together. "Snape mentioned it in class a few weeks ago." "Do you think we've got nothing better to do in potions than listen to Snape?" muttered Ron. "It transforms you into somebody else. Think about it. We could change into 3 of the Slytherins. No one would know it was us. Malfoy would probably tell us anything. He's probably boasting about it in the Slytherin common room right now. If only we could hear him." "This polyjuice stuff sounds a bit dodgy to me," said Ron, frowning. "What if we were stuck looking like 3 Slytherins forever?" "It wears off after a while," said Hermione, waving her hand impatiently. "But getting hold of the recipe will be very difficult. Snape said it was in a book called Most Potent Potions, and it's bound to be in the restricted section of the library." There was only one way to get a book from the restricted section. You needed a signed note of permission from a teacher. Hard to see why we'd want the book, really, said Ron, if we weren't going to try and make the potions. I think, said Hermione, that if we made it sound as though we were just interested in the theory, we might stand a chance. Oh, come on. No teacher's gonna fall for that, said Ron. They'd have to be really thick. Chapter 10 is called The Rogue Bludger. Since the disastrous episode of the Pixies, let's see if I can zoom. Can I zoom in this? No. Okay. Since the disastrous episode of the Pixies, Sir Professor Lockhart had not brought live creatures to class. Instead, he read passages from his books to them, and sometimes reenacted some of the more dramatic bits. He usually picked Harry to help him with these reconstructions. So far, Harry had been forced to play a simple Transylvanian villager who Lockhart had cured of a babbling curse, a yeti with a loud head cold, and a vampire who had been unable to eat anything except for lettuce since Lockhart had dealt with him. Harry was hauled to the front of the class during their very next Defense Against Dark Arts lesson, this time acting as a werewolf. If he hadn't had a very good reason for keeping Lockhart in a good mood, he would have refused to do it. Nice loud howl, Harry. Exactly. And then, if you'll believe it, I pounced like this and slammed him to the floor. Thus, with one hand, I managed to hold him down. With my other, I put my wand to his throat, and then I screwed up my remaining strength and performed the immensely complex Humuffer's charm. He let out a piteous moan. Go on, Harry. Higher than that? Good. The fur vanished. The fangs, the fangs shrank, and he turned back into a man. Simple, yet effective, and another village will remember me forever as the hero who delivered them from the monthly terror of werewolf attacks. The bell rang and Lockhart got to his feet. Homework. Compose a poem about my defeat of the Wagga Wagga werewolf. Signed copies of Magical Me to the author of the best one. The class began to leave. Harry returned to the back of the room where Ron and Hermione were waiting. Ready? Harry muttered. Wait till everyone's gone, said Hermione nervously. All right. She approached Lockhart's desk, a piece of paper clutched tightly in her hand. Harry and Ron right behind her. Professor Lockhart? Hermione stammered. I wanted to get this book out of the library just for background reading. She held out the piece of paper, her hand shaking slightly. But the thing is, it's in the restricted section of the library, so I need a teacher to sign for it. I'm sure it would help me understand what you say in Gadding with Ghouls about slow-acting venoms. Ah, Gadding with Ghouls, said Lockhart, taking the note from Hermione and smiling widely at her. Possibly my very favorite book. You enjoyed it? Oh, yes, said Hermione eagerly. So clever, the way you trapped that last one with the tea strainer. Well, I'm sure no one will mind me giving the best student in the year a little extra help, said Lockhart warmly, and pulled out an enormous peacock quill. Yes, nice, isn't it? He said, misreading the revolted look on Ron's face. I usually save it for book signings. He scrawled an enormous loopy signature on the note and handed it back to Hermione. So, Harry, said Lockhart while Hermione folded the note with fumbling fingers and slipped it into her bag. Tomorrow's the first Quidditch match of the season, I believe. Gryffindor against Slytherin, is it? Is it not? I hear you're a useful player. I was a seeker, too. I was asked to try out for the national squad, but preferred to dedicate my life to the eradication of dark forces. Still, if you ever need a little private training, don't hesitate to ask. Always happy to pass on my expertise to the less able players. Harry made an indistinct noise in his throat and then hurried off after Ron and Hermione. I don't believe it, he said as the three of them examined the signature on the note. He didn't even look at the book that we wanted. That's because he's a brainless git, said Ron. But who cares? We've got what we needed. He is not a brainless git, said Hermione shrilly as they ran towards the library. Just because he said you were the best student in the year. They dropped their voices as they entered the muffled stillness of the library. Madame Pince, the librarian, was a thin, irritable woman who looked like an underfed vulture. Wow, that really paints a picture for you, doesn't it? Most potent potions, she repeated suspiciously, trying to take the note from Hermione, but Hermione wouldn't let it go. I was wondering if I could keep it, she said breathlessly. Oh, come on, said Ron, wrenching it from her grasp and thrusting it at Madame Pince. We'll get you another autograph. Lockhart will sign anything if it stands still enough. Oh, we're over our 10 minutes. Okay, that's where we have to stop for today. If you're watching this on Monday, you're going to get a head start. On Wednesday, in our Zoom meeting, I'm going to challenge you to an extra homework assignment. That's not really homework. I want to know how many of you can learn how to raise just one eyebrow at a time and one upper lip at a time. So, for example, I can raise just one eyebrow and just one side of my upper lip. But I really want to learn how to do both eyebrows and both sides of my upper lip. So I want to know how long it would take for all of us to learn how to do that, and what better time than when we're stuck in our houses to learn such a useful skill. So if you're watching this on Monday, you get 2 days of a head start, because I'm going to challenge everyone to it on Wednesday. Okay? That's our challenge. Just for fun. Bye.